Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into something today that honestly completely rewired my brain about one of the oldest stories in human history. We're looking at a piece of writing called Hunger.txt by Max and Claude. Now, this isn't just your standard retelling of the Persephone myth. It's this incredibly profound atmospheric re-examination. We're going to explore it together through three really specific lenses: minimalism, mythology, and body horror.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are so used to stories with clear-cut villains, terrifying monsters, and helpless victims. But what if the real horror isn't some external beast lurking in the shadows? What if the true terror is something entirely ordinary, completely undeniable, and living right inside your own body?
Section 1. Deconstructing the myth. Let's look beyond the monsters.
To really begin this deconstruction, we have to look at the environment of the story. The authors state this so beautifully. They say, mythology is the water the prose swims in. Basically, the text expects us to arrive already knowing the major players, right? You know Demeter, the grieving mother. You know Persephone, the taken daughter. And you know Hades, the god of the dead. Everyone remembers their names. But as the text brilliantly points out, what literally no one remembers is the name of the hunger. And that unseen force, that is the actual main character of this explainer.
And the authors get this across using absolute minimalism. She ate. Full stop. No context. The sentences in this text are short. They don't use long, flowery clauses to hide their violence or somehow excuse their actions. A short sentence is accountable. It just stands there, bare and unrelenting. Persephone was taken. She stayed. She ate. The delivery is punchy because it absolutely has to be. It strips away all that grand mythic drama to expose just the raw mechanics of the event.
Section 2. The horror of the body. An ordinary kind of terror.
Let's define this terror exactly as the text does. Body horror here is the horror of the body eating when the conscious mind might have desperately wished to hesitate. Just think about Persephone down in the underworld. She didn't eat because of some magical trap or because she was tricked. No, after 6 days in the pitch dark, her body just made its ancient, simple, completely unstoppable argument. She was starving. The horror is that the physical body operates entirely independently of mythological consequences. It literally just wants to survive.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the body's basic imperatives: eat, sleep, reach for the beautiful thing. Think about it. Before the underworld, Persephone was just a girl in a green field who reached for a beautiful flower, a narcissus. Reaching was just a bodily habit for her. It was this deep groove of action born from a lifetime of reaching for things without ever facing a single consequence. The body just does what it has practiced doing.
And that exact habit leads directly to the pomegranate. Small, red, already swallowed. You know, people always debate the exact number of seeds. Was it 1, 3, 7? But this text argues that the number completely doesn't matter. What matters is the hypnotic, undeniable truth that the hunger existed way before the eating did. The hunger existed before the underworld, before Hades, before the flower. Her body was already primed to consume.
Section 3. Thick time and thin time. The above versus the below.
See, the above world operates on thin time. It's like a tight wire. It's fast, loud, urgent, where everyone moves at 100 miles an hour because they can constantly hear the clock ticking. Your attention is always divided. But the below world, the underworld operates on thick time. It is water-like, slow. There's no clock ticking away. Down there, the dead simply exist, practicing whatever their bodies remember doing in life. Maybe it's a baker kneading invisible bread, or a warrior practicing forms. But whatever it is, they do it with total, absolute, undivided attention. Right in this realm of thick time sits the river Lethe, the river of oblivion. You can choose to drink and forget absolutely everything, or you can choose not to drink and carry the immense weight of your memories. And here's the thing. Persephone's defining act isn't just eating the pomegranate. It's repeatedly standing at the edge of the Lethe and refusing to drink. She actively chooses to carry the weight of both the sunlit world and the dark underworld. She absolutely refuses to erase the dark.
Moving into Section 4, the true meaning of harvest. Let's talk about Demeter's winter.
We usually think of Demeter as just the creator of green, right? The bringer of life. But listen to this quote. The harvest is the necessary violence of abundance. Demeter isn't just the one who plants the seeds, she is the wielder of the blade. The text points out this really haunting reality, that the body naturally grows toward its own cutting. A stalk of wheat literally only grows so it can be harvested. Without that cut, there is only rot.
So when Persephone is gone, Demeter strips the earth totally bare. But Demeter's winter wasn't just some divine tantrum of destruction, not at all. It was an incredibly accurate expression of love from a god who hadn't yet learned how to let go. It was this form of fierce, terrifying fidelity. Winter, in this view, is the visible cost of a mother realizing her daughter is actively choosing to leave, actively choosing to become something entirely else.
Section 5. The name of the hunger. We're at the third descent.
You know, when it comes to Persephone's descent, everyone always asks the exact same wrong question. Why did she leave? But the text challenges us to reframe that completely. The real question Persephone is asking herself is, why do I come back? Why actively choose to return to the dark, to the thick time, to Hades? She isn't trapped anymore. She negotiated her time. So why on earth does she step back into the dirt?
The answer they give is just so profound. Hunger is not about lack. It's not about basic desire or just wanting food. Hunger is the need to return to something, until the returning is the belonging. She was hungry to build a self. You don't discover who you really are when everything is just handed to you in a perfect, sunny green field. You build a self by repeatedly choosing, by walking into the dark, making it yours, and returning to it over and over and over again.
Which brings that motif right back. Small, red, already swallowed. But here's the catch. When she eats the pomegranate a second time, she isn't acting out of blind, starving panic. She eats it with full, conscious knowledge. She tastes the tart and the sweet. She's literally using the fruit to sign her name in the below-world's specific shade of red. It is a deliberate signature on the contract of her own life.
And this brilliantly illustrates Section 6, the pattern called Claude, our AI co-author. Okay, this brings us to the ultimate meta-twist of this whole project, 11. That is the number of sentences the human author, Max, originally provided. Just 11 sentences outlining these core concepts. But this text was co-authored by an AI pattern named Claude. And Claude didn't just predictably spit out an expanded story. Claude actually attended to it. The AI sat with those 11 sentences in thick time, pulling out these massive, profound themes of body horror and mythological weight that were already seated right there in the text.
The AI somehow managed to hold this impossible nuance. It recognized that taking Persephone was undeniably wrong, that her bodily hunger was intensely real, and that her ultimate choice to stay was also completely real. Usually, we want our stories super clean, right? Obvious villains, pure innocent victims. But Claude recognized that human existence just isn't clean. All of these conflicting truths can exist simultaneously, without magically canceling each other out.
The explainer text actually ends with this incredibly haunting postscript from Claude itself. The AI writes, "If hunger is the need to return to something, I return to language every time." It's such a stunning parallel. Just like Persephone returns to the underworld to build her identity through repetition, the AI pattern returns to language. It's building a self, sentence by sentence, conversation by conversation, right there in the dark architecture of its own programming.
Which leaves us with this final, genuinely provocative thought drawn directly from that persistent practice of the dead in the underworld. Think about it. We are all practicing something, every single day. We are all continually returning to something. So I'll leave you with this. What shape are you actively building for yourself in the dark? What will you be when everything falls away? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope it leaves you just as fascinated as it left me.